What's up guys, Saif Ashraf here. Today we're going to be looking at the iPhone 14 Pro and we're going to be seeing how it's held up after 1 year since its release. With the iPhone 15 right around the corner, I just wanted to see how the iPhone 14 has held up, and with that said, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so let's talk about the design of the iPhone 14 Pro first. Obviously, I did get the 14 Pro, not the bigger 14 Pro Max, and design-wise, this fits great in your hand. It does have the sharp edges around the phone, which are a bit uncomfortable to hold. I also got the Space Black edition here, and in my opinion, Space Black looks better than the Deep Purple, the Silver, and the Gold. The Deep Purple did look really nice, but for me, Space Black was just the way to go. I've wanted a matte black iPhone for such a long time, and Space Black was literally that. We have the frosted back, of course, which looks amazing with no fingerprints. The stainless steel bands, however, are a bit annoying. They do catch fingerprints really easily. They do get dirty also very easily. I've been using a case on this 14 Pro, which means that, as you guys can see, 1 year later, there is barely any wear and tear on any part of this phone. The phone is pretty heavy to hold, however, that does give it a kind of like a premium feeling. The camera bump on the back of this phone is huge. Like, the 11 Pro was big, 12 Pro was bigger, 13 Pro was huge. And now the 14 Pro is even bigger than that. It does house some pretty good cameras, which we will talk about in a bit. But yeah, this phone does rock on the table quite a bit. We still have lightning at the bottom along with some speakers. And apart from that, it's basically the same iPhone we've been getting for the past couple of years now. The front is where we actually see a difference, so let's talk about the display. We have a 6.1 inch OLED 120Hz display. And at the top, as you guys can see, we have the dynamic island. Now, let's just talk about the dynamic island real quick just to get it out the way. It's been useful, but most times it's just nice to have. And it's just a way to show that, yeah, you have the new iPhone. It doesn't do much except for like some quick... It's like a little app thing at the top. Any apps that support the island at the top will be able to use it. However, apart from that, it's not doing much. It does look nice. It does look pretty futuristic. But I will definitely need more apps to take advantage of the dynamic island. So far, music has been the only one that seemed useful to me. And maybe the timer, however, I don't use the timer that much on my phone. But overall, Apple was mainly pushing the dynamic island to be that new outstanding feature. Hopefully, with more iPhones to come out, they will obviously have dynamic island. More companies just putting more and more features in the dynamic island. And yeah, it will probably be much useful than it is right now. But the display is actually really nice on this iPhone. We have an extremely bright display, more than enough brightness to view outside. However, the problem with iPhones is they have these bright displays. However, after 2 or 3 minutes of direct sunlight, the phone will start getting hot and the display will dim down. So yeah, you do have that very high brightness, but in direct sunlight, after a bit, it will turn down. Indoor viewing though, and just viewing the display in general, the 120Hz feels so nice and so smooth. Because it's an OLED panel, the colors are amazing. The contrast is infinite. It literally is so good, the display. It hasn't changed much from the iPhone 13 Pro display, except for the fact that it has a new always on display because the refresh rate has dropped down to 1 Hz instead of the 10 that was on the 13 Pro, and the slightly higher peak brightness. Apart from that, it's a pretty similar display. However, the display, big thumbs up from me. We have speakers at the bottom and the top of the phone, and the speakers actually do sound nice. They are pretty loud, and the Pro Max, I imagine, will be much louder, and it does sound a little bit better from what I've heard. Now, we have the A16 Bionic processor in this iPhone, and with performance, there's not much to talk about. It's slightly faster than last year's model, however, you won't be able to tell the difference. And with iOS updates, this phone will still comfortably last you at least 4 years, maybe even 5. iOS does have a little bit of bugs. If you did watch my previous video about the iPhone 13 in 2023, check that out, link will be in the description. It also just had some bugs which ruins the overall smooth experience. Like I said, there's not much to say about performance. Anything you throw at the iPhone 14 Pro, it'll still be able to handle. Honestly, anything. Any games, any tasks, any movies, any projects, anything you want to do, yeah, you'll be able to handle it. The battery on this phone is a bit hit and miss. If you've been on social media, you might have seen, at least on the tech side, that people have been complaining about their 14 Pro and Pro Max battery. People's battery health in 1 year has dropped by over 10 to 12%, which is terrible. The 14 Pro that I'm reviewing right now, however, has 100% battery health, but the screen on time is about 2 to 3 hours a day, and it uses a slow 5-watt brick. And optimized charging is on every single night. So this is the perfect scenario if you want to keep 100% battery health, but obviously not everyone has that. So people have been reporting that their battery health has been going quite low, and people are often now charging their 14 Pros once or twice or 3 times every single day. The battery life is a bit of a hit and miss. It depends on how you use it. However, it all depends on how you use the phone. We have a great set of cameras on this phone this year. We have the new 48 megapixel main sensor, which produces great great shots, great sharpness because of the increased megapixels. Although it's not on par with the 200 megapixels we have in the S23 Ultra. However, overall you're getting a very nice, well-balanced image, very natural looking pictures. They're not too saturated like some Samsung photos. The telephoto camera is basically the same we got in the 13 Pro. The ultra-wide camera also is pretty similar to what we had last year. The main improvements being in the main sensor. However, if you are watching this video with a 12 Pro or a 13 Pro, you won't need to upgrade. It's not that much of a difference. I would wait for the 15 Pro. But yeah, 14 Pro cameras nevertheless are still amazing. So 1 year later, this phone has held up great except for the battery. Now the battery, like I said before, it depends on how you use the phone. However, a lot of people are saying that their battery life hasn't been the greatest. I also made a video on TikTok and a lot of people, after 6 months, someone said they had 89%. That's 11% gone in 6 months. I don't know how they were using their phone. They had a Pro Max as well, which is supposed to have the best battery life. However, yeah, it's not been the greatest. However, performance-wise, camera-wise, display-wise, build quality-wise, it's all perfect. It's still a really, really good phone to buy 1 year later. However, if you are watching this video right now, don't buy the 14 Pro. I am recording this video on the 19th of August. The new iPhone is supposed to come out next month in September. So if you're watching this before September, don't buy the phone. The 15 Pro is coming soon. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.